Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boomba on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Aladelupo and I bid you a warm welcome this interesting afternoon. It is Friday right here in the city of Lagos State and it promises to be a very interesting one. We're going to be talking about quite a number of things today. President Tinubu is in the news a lot. Maybe a bit more in depth on his trip to Anambra yesterday. Quite a number of things that happened. And a few things that, a few announcements that was made. So we're going to be talking about that. Nigeria's crude oil output falls. He actually announced this was in for the month of March. It's kind of expected with all the drama that happened, especially in Rivers, Bielsa, and all that a couple of weeks ago. It was. I'm sure anybody would not. It's definitely not out of place. We're going to be talking about that. China is not looking like is fazed by what the U.S. president is doing. There are also talks of him maybe dropping some tariffs and all that. But we'll see who's going to budge in that. Anyway, that and a lot of other things that we're going to be talking about today at the bar. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. My name is Oladelupo. And I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. With me in the studio is Shala Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the bar. Thank God it's Friday.
Okay, so we're getting straight into the show today. As I said, first things first, there is a new announcement that the president is proposing a child protection agency, based protection and development agency. It's first of its kind. But interesting is that I was going to say that aren't there like agencies that do those kind of things already? Like at times, wouldn't some of these things be like duplicating efforts? This is just my own.
Well, at times, you get that kind of feeling at first, like, okay, why are they? But look at the issue of child protection. And tell me honestly that this is not a welcome development.
Okay.
Whatever agency or department in whatever ministry or whatever MDA that is supposed to be doing this, how well are they doing? But if you have a specialized one, just like, when they created the EFCC, you would have said, oh, the police have this anti-corruption unit and all of that. But look at how effective the EFCC has become. Or the NDLEA. We didn't have that before, So at times when you have specialized agencies, they actually go a long way in helping you, solve this kind of problems. You're not going to lie, there's been an upsurge in the reportage of child molestation and other issues that affect the child. Mm-hmm. You see, it's okay it's actually not okay, but what I'm about to say is that it's okay for an adult to voice out because he has the mental, financial, or whatever capacity to voice out and say, look, I think something is wrong here and I don't like it. But for children, who's going to speak for them? Do you understand? So if we create a system that protects our children and we have a dedicated child protection agency for it, I think we'll be able to save more lives. We'll be able to help a lot of people. I was watching someone's video a few days ago, and the person was talking about an incident that happened to her as a child. And honestly, this person is an adult now. I think she's in her late 20s or early 30s, and she's still affected by this thing. This has basically changed her entire. And she said that nobody would speak for her, and the problem happened in church.
Wow. And
the pastor that she was quoting had created a scenario of her being evil and whatever, and even her parents, everybody bought into it. Do you get? She said that led her to doing a lot of research and reading about the things they claim she was. So at the end of the day, a child protection agency, if properly set up and structured, would help. Some of these things are the things that Lagos State already is enjoying. Lagos State had the LSDVA thing that is helping with women and domestic violence and all of that. But you find that virtually every other state in Nigeria does not have it. You get. And there have been scenarios where people have actually gone online to complain about certain things, and people will refer them to a Lagos state agency, something that's happening maybe somewhere in the south or southeast or another southwest state. So I think I'm all for this one if they do it properly, if they bring in experienced people and they train people. And again, look at the other angle where you're creating more employment while protecting our children.
Okay. I think I get your point now. Makes sense actually. So at times it's better if it's specialized. At least they know for a fact from the get what exactly they're supposed to be doing. So it makes sense. We'll see how far this can go and how much they can work with it as soon as possible. Anyway, the president also has asked the Senate, I think this happened yesterday, to confirm nominees for 3 regional development agencies. In fact, I think the one for, is it the South Development Agency? A lot of people were going on because apparently the person has the same name with the Senate president, and there's been a lot of questions back and forth. Apparently, they're not even related in any way. They just have the same name, which makes sense.
The first time I also saw that person's image and name, I'm like, is this an Akpabio? Like, is this an Akpabio daughter or sister or cousin or something? It was screaming Nepo everywhere. You know what Nepo is now?
Yeah.
Let me help you. This is what Dulupo explained. She said nepotism.
I didn't even say anything.
You saying Nepo?
No, you said it.
You said it off air. You said it off air.
I've still not said anything.
You said it off air.
No, you cannot prove it.
But yeah, I can't. But at least I've quoted you directly.
No, I did not say it.
But it's really not a big deal. Nepotism is a bad thing. Actually, she didn't say it on air, but I said it after she had explained it to me. So nepotism,
I'm very afraid at this point.
That's why you need to keep an open mind. In this particular scenario, though, they're not related. For me, I always feel like, okay, should it affect you even if you're related? If you are the rightful person for a certain role.
At times, those things cross my mind
too.
But
on the flip side, you'll be like,
are you
the only person that is rightful for the role?
Exactly.
After all, your family already has a speaker. So but in this case, this lady seems eminently qualified, and she's not related to Akpabio.
Yep. So just wanted to put this out there for the Southwest development.
For me, my surname has worked against me in 1 or 2 scenarios like this too. So I can relate to when people are like, but your own person is already something.
No, I don't know.
But that person is not me. But
that's
okay.
That's if you know the person.
I do know the person.
Okay, so I have a surname that virtually everybody has. Exactly. That is even worse.
And congratulations to you, surname people, on the appointment of your surname bearer.
I don't even know what you saw. Anyway, for the North Central Development Commission, Cyril Yeltsin is the MD, and the Cosmos Akir as is the chairman of that. Another person that has been for the Southwest Development Commission as well. There's Senator Olubumi Adetumbi as the chairman and Charles Akinola as the managing director of
that's the Southwest?
That as well, of the Southwest. So we'll be looking forward to see what
how quick are these guys going to hit the ground. I see the guys, I think it's the Northwest that already going. Then the Southeast Development Agency too.
We'll see because other than the chairman and managing director that has been announced for each of these ones as well, 18 nominees have also been picked out.
Right.
Quickly. So let's see how fast these. I think at this point now, it's also now dependent on governors of this region, how fast they can work with these people.
Today, even the governors, are they not supposed to be like the NDDC? Did the NDDC wait for...
No, I'm not saying wait, but it would be nice for the governors to help kickstart some of these things.
Why? What's the governor's business? Are they funding it?
They're not funding it, but
So why do they need the
it's
governors?
their area. It's
No, now for me though, maybe I don't understand it the way you do, and I'm open to learn. But the whole essence of this guys being set up, this development commission, is supposed to be devoid of influence from the governors. Yes, they can partner in certain areas, but shouldn't it be them looking at the entire region, maybe the southeast region now, and saying, you know what? These are the things that the southeast needs that we're going to do as a collective that will benefit the entire southeast, that will benefit the entire northwest, north central, northeast, south, and southwest. That's my own perception of the thing, because I've been looking at how the NDDC has been operating, and I'm thinking maybe they will borrow a leaf from that.
Huh?
And if that's the way, you see the NDDC doing a whole lot of stuff across state lines and all of that. You know, they're building roads and schools and offices and stuff, you know. So for me, I don't think the governors feature in this, though. Well, I might be very wrong.
okay. So we're going straight, moving on from that. But when we're not leaving the president yet, we're going to talk a little bit about the president's visit to Anambra yesterday. It was quite eventful, that we can say. From the president's welcomes, apparently, it was quite a very interesting welcome to the governor's speech, to the president getting a traditional title.
I have a friend his name is Yemi Saka, is my very good friend, and he's always very big on protocol and security procedures and everything. And I've not spoken to him about this one, but he noticed some protocol breaches when the president went to Katsina. And I've shared his sentiments where, you know, that people trying to force their way into it. It shouldn't even happen in the first place. But this protocol breach that I noticed, and I've not spoken to the expert on protocol yet, is that, but it looked nice, but it was a breach, was that the president was already sat in the stadium when Governor Soludo got there. I just saw him jog up. I'm like, Soludo is fit.
Yeah.
So Tinubu got up. You know, protocol is not, it's supposed to be the other way around and all of that.
So he was coming from his speech, actually.
I know, as in that he's supposed to still sit down.
Yeah,
and all that. But I'm saying that Tinubu will give you serious headache when
but
it comes to
I was
protocol.
going to say that, like, if you have followed,
I see the way he moves, he will give you protocol headache.
or even when he was governor, it seems to be breaking a lot of protocol.
Yeah. So he got up. Yeah, Soludo was coming, but that's what I'm saying, that he was already sat. President was sat. So ideally, just to still sit down and all that. Just call me if you think but I know that president's supposed to be sitting.
Not the president's supposed to be sitting. But like I said,
But
if you follow President Tinubu, he's definitely not a protocol person.
Yeah. So and he did his dance. He tried to boy, yeah, DK. Okay, oh, this is nice. But protocol. The other one was he got a chief taxi title. And did he have to like kneel or something? I'm not sure.
No, I think he sat.
Okay, I also got something. I'm like, okay, what's going
saw
on
that
here?
video.
You know,
he sat.
But what I saw, apart from the perceived or alleged protocol breaches, is that the lines are blurred.
I think he had a good outing.
The lines are blurred now when it comes to party politics. When it comes to,
if we refer back to the president's, the governor's
APC.
speech.
Yeah.
The governor's speech, I don't think anybody asked him. I think it's too early to be campaigning. However, he's not the first governor to put it out there. We're still in 2025.
You know what these governors are doing?
Yeah.
They're basically speaking to a certain set of people.
Yeah.
Without calling their names.
So at the moment, he also, like I said, is not the first person this year alone, first governor to have endorsed the president for 2027. And I'm like,
when they calm down now.
You people.
Let's even do 3 years.
Yes, like, y'all are not even chilling at all. We saw that the governor was he seemed very jovial, very cordial with the president. They're not from the same party. Do you understand? APGA and APC, I'm not sure I've ever, I say maybe they're probably maybe a little, especially the Southeast, maybe a little more cordial with PDP.
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand? But yesterday seemed to be a very good outing. Professor Soludo, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, had a couple of things to say threw a few jabs here and there.
Not here and there. He threw the jabs at only one person, more or less.
Okay, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but that's what he did.
And that's what he did now. And I think even the governor of Abia State was there yesterday. Yeah, I think Alex Oti was actually at the event. Yes. And that was so the party APC, or let's even go all the way back to maybe ACN, has really never been very how do I say it, cordial with the Southeast. And I think that, and it's not about maybe, it's just what it is. It's a way, take for example, when the Delta governor and all the elected officials in Delta State moved to the APC. Delta State, South and Southeast have really always really been the major strongholds for like the PDP. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that we're seeing this major shift, especially this very early in President Tinubu's administration.
A lot of people have said a lot of things about it, and it depends on who you listen to. Some people will tell you that there's a lot of coercion and forcing going on, and people are being forced. Some will tell you that you should listen to what the governors are actually saying. The examples of the governor of Quara, who is APC actually, but who actually said that he has done more in this particular term of almost 2 years than he did in the first 4 years of his first tenure, basically because of increased allocations from the center. So a lot of governors are saying that it's made their life easier. They get more and they can pay salaries on regular and still carry out infrastructural development and everything. A case in point is the governor of Abia, when he did that his budget and he had those projections and everybody was looking like, where is he going to get the money from? And maybe he's getting closer to those things that he said. Maybe. But we'll still be here to scrutinize, and see how the governors do. Because we've always advocated here at the bar that we need to shift our gaze without taking our eyes off the center, but shift our gaze to the governors. Yeah. Shift our gaze to the chairman of the local government and all of that.
There's so much that those people
they're getting
a
free pass too much.
Yes, too much.
Everything that is wrong, people just focus on the center, and that's why a lot of things don't get done.
Yep. And so it's interesting. Like I said, I think it's interesting times coming up, but there's something that President Tinubu is doing that seems like most governors, regardless of party lines, seem to be very cordial with him and seem to be okay with his administration. I'm just going to hope that whatever he's doing with the governors, maybe it should trickle down a lot more to Nigerians so that Nigerians can have that taste as well.
Nigerians deserve a better life. Nigerians deserve a better economy. Nigerians deserve more security. Nigerians deserve the best. This is a blessed country.
Okay, so let's get right into. We're still going on. I think since we're talking about what's it called?
Abia State.
No, we're talking about Anambra State. Let's pivot straight to Abia State. It's interesting that the governor of Abia State has now made a very shocking revelation. So apparently, the former governor of Abia State, please, who's the governor that just left?
Was it Ikpeazu?
Oh, okay, that's him.
I think it was Ikpeazu.
So apparently, Governor Alex Oti saying that the so-called new government house that was just built, is inhabitable or uninhabitable.
Okay, why is that?
So apparently, it says that it's only the first floor that was finished. Every other place, there are no wardrobes. There's nothing there. It doesn't look like.
They should finish it now.
So what the government is saying that they're not planning to move there. However, they're going to turn the place into a hotel.
Okay.
So that at least resources will not waste. According to, I think, one of the commissioners in Abia State made the statement saying that they do not know what the idea behind the building was because it didn't look like as if there was a plan.
Oh, interesting. I actually saw a video. I think there's this guy with Arise TV that went there, and they took him on a tour. And of course, everywhere at some point, some places sounded hollow, and that means the place is not
Complete.
And all of that. But from the
was he ever
facade,
commissioned?
I think they moved into the ground floor or something, and that's where they held their meetings and all. But actually, the funny thing is that the current governor works from his house. Stays in his own house. And it won't be. I don't know. Wike did that for a while when he was. In fact, maybe did it throughout his tenure. Maybe I think so. But he said that he wasn't going to spend money on that building to finish it because it was going to divert the money to more important things in the state. And I'm like, are you that skint that you cannot, because again, it's important to just cut costs and set these things up properly. But if going the way of, if there's a place you can't live in, then how is it fit enough for a 5-star hotel?
Maybe they want to redesign and do a lot more stuff with it. But anyway.
Well, at least it's more income for the state, though.
Yeah.
And it's not like it lacks a place to live. But it's good for all these legacy projects to be done properly,
Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah. My issue with those things is, why are we quick to commission things that are never done?
Happens all the time. And there's always a frenzy, especially when people are leaving government. It's not a... I remember the Testing Balogun Stadium in Lagos was actually commissioned. And it was built by the military. Was commissioned. Then the civilian government took over. And they had an inspection. And they had to shut it down. And they had to basically restructure and redesign and do some things before they could start using it. And it won't be the first...
what's the
project
point?
that you see people commission in a frenzy and in a rush? Even the immediate past APC government did it in one or two places. What was it? Rush to commission Dangote refinery when we're not going to get a drop of petrol from
until
it.
over a year after that. Yeah,
what's the rush? They wanted to commission Lagos Ibadan. Yeah, you people have not finished it. Why are you commissioning?
No, they didn't commission Lagos
They
Ibadan.
were going to. It was on a list. It was on a schedule.
Yeah, true.
Yes. So there are a couple of projects like that you just like, okay, why? Look, and I said it here, and I'm going to repeat it. Like, there's nothing wrong with you telling, Mr. President, when you finally finish this thing, I would really like to be
there when it's commissioned. Yeah,
that, so
it's interesting. Yeah, we'll just see. But anyway, just wanted to put some gist out there. The Lagos State government has now rescheduled the Ogudu-Oworo-Sheki bridge repairs. So, I think it's not starting
on Tuesday
anymore. Maybe they have not ironed out
the alternative route and.
But really, which alternative route can you on that road?
Yeah,
this is me just being.
For me, I've always wondered. If you understand how these things are, if you're shutting down one side of the bridge, split the other side into two, while still encouraging people to go through. For instance, if you're doing the side that's from Lagos Ibadan heading towards Ogudu, Bagada, Oroshoki, Third Mainland, if you are doing that side of the road, the side coming from the island, coming from Bagada, split it into two, so that some people can still be diverted and take one lane, while the people going will take another lane. Meanwhile, you'll also be able to now tell people that, look, the other option is to go through the Bagada Express, all the way to Ojota if you're going to Ogudu, which is a way to get there. You go through Antoni to get there, And for those who are going to Bagada, they can actually go through the normal Bagada route and connect to that access also.
Anyway,
but the other thing, I just wondered, there's like a swamp or something underneath that bridge. And I keep wondering why we can't deploy the military. They always have all these bridges that are mobile, that they can move from place to place. And maybe for a couple of months, I don't know why we can't do those things. I've seen them before.
Anyway, still staying with Lagos, they've also now issued the traffic advisory as APC is holding the local council election primaries tomorrow. and it's going to be around the Acme Road. They're saying that during the time of the primaries, that road is going to be closed. So, use alternative routes.
Acme Road is not that busy. It's not that busy.
But the traffic there at times.
Yeah, especially when they have this type of political events. But Lagos is blessed with massive venues. Why not move your primary since you're expecting
Does it have to
such
be
a crowd?
The party?
Does it have to be at the party headquarters? Why not move it to the TBS? Why not move it to a Agege Stadium or so where you know that they have adequate parking and space to take as many people as you can, so that it doesn't affect people. That Acme, the churches there, the filling stations, the party venues there, and all of that. You just because of politics, you just mess up people's things.
Anyway, Sha, I just wanted to put that out there. Now let's go to Oyo State. Interesting news coming from Oyo State, because there was one gist I wanted to say yesterday that I could not say. I don't know, I forgot, but I will get to that. That's in Ondo. But today, this happened in Oyo State. As the Olubadan has now suspended 2 chiefs. I think last week there was news of him suspending one Mogaji. Now another one has now, 2 other people have now been suspended, basically, and their traditional beads removed over land grabbing.
That's interesting. Now it looks like the traditional rulers are actually going beyond, the style of just overlooking a whole lot of things.
Yeah, and I think that's the only way. Things like land grabbing and all that, those things are very close to the people.
Yeah, a lot of people use their position. Mm-hmm. They use their traditional, connections, to pull off these things, and it's a terrible thing, especially for people who are just looking to buy land and develop or farm or build something on it. Then you start going through, they take you through the ringer, man, just because you are buying land from them or from someone that's close to them.
Yeah.
So I like to commend the Olubadan.
So he made this known through the Otun Olubadan of Ibadan, Rashid Adewale, the former governor, saying that the suspension order from the Olubadan remains in force and it is indefinite until they retrace their steps and do the needful.
So indefinite can be forever, and indefinite can be definite if you quickly return the land that you grabbed.
Stop grabbing people's land, basically. Now we're going to Ondo State. Interesting news also coming from Ondo State is the police yesterday actually arrested a particular man and 4 of his accomplices. So a self-proclaimed king, one Adekolajo Aladesheyi, for allegedly installing himself illegally as the king in his community. He was reported that he installed himself in the dead of the night as Olujare of Ijare Kingdom and Ifedore local government area of the state. However, he was arrested with 4 other people who participated in the illegal installation process.
Isn't it funny? In 2025, with all this internet and all the connections,
you're installing yourself,
and where did he get off thinking he could pull it off? And it starts me thinking that I start thinking like, wait, maybe there are some other people like him out there.
The funny thing is
who have bamboozled their way to.
Apparently, this stool is
all.
actually a very important stool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're now saying that it has actually been vacant for 4 years after the demise of the king there, and the kingmakers they did not know anything. Only for after the installation, you start parading yourself.
It's good. He too was just trying.
They wanted to test. They want to test water. True. You know that if they did not nip it in the bud. Some people, that's how some people just, become.
You know what they say on the street now? Jello. You just,
But you know that.
Just freestyle.
I also feel that I like why this is happening, because as much as we know that we say that a lot of politics is eroding into our tradition and all that, but there are also laws now. So nobody can just do as you like.
They've
Like
always
in
been laws.
Oyo,
It's just the enforcement that's
like
the
Oyo
problem.
State now, that happened in Oyo State. You can't just grab people's land because you are mortgaged. Those things should not happen anymore. We're in 2025. Same way you cannot install yourself. Who gave you a staff of office?
You know, it's good that this happened though, because that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
right there.
that before you know it, a tribal war starts. Some ethnic funny thing starts, and then and you have all these sorts of things. I don't think that Nigeria needs any kind of that imbalance at the moment. Anyway, speaking about Nigeria, interesting news coming from Nigeria. I think I have a bit of good news and not so good news, but we'll talk about it. Nigeria's business performance index has now risen to 12.29 in April of 2025. So, and I think that whether we like it or not, a lot of Nigerian companies seem to, in the past quarter, have been declaring a lot of profit, a lot of sales, and all that. So I think this makes sense.
It does actually. If you look at the news that's filtered in, a whole lot of companies are just turning a profit. So it's a good thing for us. I hope that it actually starts to reflect in people's lives and all of that.
All of that.
Recently, a very respected Nigerian, maybe it was this valedictory speech or something, the African Development Bank president made some statements that got the government people angry. And he said, that compared to 1960 or whatever, Nigerian lives are not better off or blah, 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 blah. You understand? People faulted his statistics and all of that. But at the end of the day, at the back of your mind and my mind, you still look
people
around.
People just want a better
and you
life.
See that people want. People are not asking for too much.
They just want
Trust
to
me,
be okay.
The average Nigerian is not asking for too much. I'm not just that. The average human being.
Food, affordable housing,
Let them
affordable
live
transport.
with some dignity.
Yeah. I think that's just basically it. That's just basically it at the end of the day. Anyway, still talking about Nigeria on a not so very good note. Nigeria's crude oil output fell by 4.3% in the month of March.
It's not something that we didn't see coming, knowing how things panned out and all of that. You know that, again, the crude oil market can be volatile. Once one small thing happens in one small place, people start to act funny and all of that. And there's a sharp drop you get. That also led to the lower price at the pump, for PMS, But yes, and that's March. So we've had other months. I'm sure we would like to hear about it. And I know that there was a meeting between the NNPC and Dangote refineries, as represented by the owner, Aliko Dangote, yesterday in Abuja. And my takeaway from that is that they're talking about collaboration and all of that, and the possible reduction again.
I remember,
in pump price.
remember in the past 1 year, or maybe in the year that Dangote refinery started, we'll see a more cordial relationship between Dangote refinery and NNPC going forward. Because it's not really been very.
The MD of NNPCL and Aliko have now appointed themselves as the relationship managers for both brands. I feel that's a good thing, right? At the end of the day, you see all of this grammar. Then just want to be able to say, this fuel that is 875 now in some places and 890 or 900 in some places still goes down.
Goes down again. Yeah. People will definitely appreciate it. Anyway, and in Kano State, the DSS, the Department of State Services, have arrested 5 suspects linked to the abduction and the murder of a 1-year-old girl in Kano State. The Kano State Attorney General had announced this, saying that, funny enough, the victim and everybody that had been suspected all seem to have, all the people arrested are all from the same community. And when I first read the story, what that tells me is that, yes, and I'm not saying that we do not have terrorists or bandits that are imported in and they wreak havoc, but more often than not, there is a lot of crime that is being crime is more local than international.
Yeah, most times it is. You find that there's this thing that I said. I find myself using it a lot now. That if the world does not open its mouth, the lizard or the gecko cannot enter it.
Mm-hmm.
It comes. It rings through and true again. Do you get that? These are locally known people, and at times very close relatives.
Close relatives, yeah. It's interesting. I don't. It's just sad as the child was kidnapped, and there was ransom that was demanded from her family, only for them to still later murder the child, a 1-year-old.
Oh, wow.
It's just sad. It's just sad. But I really, really, really hope that I'm kind of a little bit more happy that it's the DSS that arrested these people. I hope that they really, really face the full length of the law, more like they're dead, more like they're hung or some.
You can't say that.
I'm just
hope that the maximum,
it's just sad. It's just
it's
really sad. Maybe it's one of the reasons why this agency that the president wants to establish, maybe these are one of the things that are needed, for child protection and all that. Now let's move on from that. As last night or yesterday evening, the Vatican had announced new pope.
Yes.
It's officially a new pope now, Pope Leo the 14th.
Yes, there was white smoke.
Yep. Now the Vatican has also set May 18th for the inauguration mass of the Pope. However, before we leave this matter of the Pope, I saw a video yesterday of a Nigerian actor. I don't know if you saw it, Kano, and he made a very interesting summation, which I think that it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And he said that apparently, I think he too is Catholic.
Okay.
That obviously, like the Catholic world has been waiting for the announcement of the next pope and all that, but that he made an observation about things that happen, and he feels that maybe some things need to change.
Okay.
What he meant was the color of the smoke.
Yeah.
He said we had grown
black
to know
and white.
Black as something bad and white as something good. That's why can't the
I was going to joke
new
about
pope
it.
signification be a blue smoke, and another color for that? Why does it have to be? That is something that has been going on for years. He's not saying but that the idea of black and white itself, like whoever came up with the idea of black and white.
The thing is, why are we even saying this? I was going to joke about it before, and I said at times, people get very touchy about their religion and everything. But on the flip side, what's our business with defending black? We're not black. Do you understand this programming that?
No, funny enough, where he was coming from, I'm not even sure he was talking about.
Why can't it be black and white?
Complexion.
So why can't it be black and white?
He was saying that the idea of the color black, is attached to mourning and things that are not good.
Why not?
And all that. And
if he's not looking at it as they refer to us as black people,
the funny thing
why is it bad?
You know why I think that I would agree with him. And when I say some of these things, it's really not even, I don't even think about skin complexion. I remember having a very interesting conversation with my mom once about why do people have to wear black to funerals? Like, black is probably one of, if not one of my best colors ever. Like, everything you say is made by God is good, Abi, according to Christians. So if God made the color black, why do we have to attach the color black? And and this is me not even about complexion or anything. This is about the color black. When something is black. Do you understand? Like, why do we have to attach the color black to something that is not so good, or mourning, and then it has to be white? If it's white, it's pure, is this? Why can't pureness be red? Do you get, like, why do we have to attach all sorts of things to colors?
Yeah, I had this discussion with my son. He's actually 6 years old. a few days ago. He was asking me about colors and why. And I explained it to the best of my knowledge. And I said, these are the things that were, and that's why I was talking about programming and everything. And the truth, again, for me, since we're having this discussion, is that if you're not looking at it from the angle of us being referred to as black, it's not a big deal. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a color. So it can be black smoke, purple smoke, green smoke, or whatever smoke.
So change it.
Why change it? If it doesn't hurt you, if it doesn't affect you in any way, it doesn't stop you from excelling or from breathing or from living your life.
I just think at times.
Wait.
And like I said,
carry on. No, carry on.
And like I said, why I also agreed with him was I remember I've had the conversation with the issue of black and white, and it has nothing to do with people's complexion. It was about colors. Again,
beyond aesthetics, beyond other things, we need organization in this world that we are in. Things have to be structured and organized and planned, or else you just wake up one day and say, this thing is green, and they'll tell you, no, in our own world, it's black. Now that colors have been defined and explained scientifically and otherwise, we accept it the way it is. What I am saying, and maybe if you probe Kanayo further, is the reference to black as a bad thing and being attacked. They call Africa the dark continent. Why is Africa referred to as the dark continent? Why am I referred to as a black man? I am not black. This is black. My beads are black. My bracelet is black. I am not black. So, black has been used in a derogatory way, in a racist way. And if you're now saying it's black smoke versus white smoke, then I get the smoke comparison and the issue. But if you're saying that why is black this, black can be anything you want it to be, because that's what they've handed down and they've programmed it. And that's why you see at times when all these people that come with the color parade try to change things, it's because of things that were handed down anyway.
Because I remember, like,
a few years ago,
you go to funerals. Why can't you wear yellow?
A few years ago, a rainbow was just a rainbow.
Yeah.
Today, a rainbow means something different. A few years ago, the other name,
you know, that
for some animals were just named, so now they mean something else.
It's funny.
I can't even say it on air.
You know how rainbow signified not just after the rain. Another thing that it signified was new life. More like they call rainbow babies a child that was born after the mother was had like a miscarriage or stillbirth or something.
You can't do that anymore.
Now it's attached to all sorts of things, and
that's what I'm saying. So it's the same way with black or green or whatever. Maybe someday some people will be like, you know what, we're changing the color black to this, and it could mean whatever. I get it.
Anyway,
but for as long as it's not about it being racist, I don't have a problem with it.
Anyway, moving on from that quickly, China seems to have exceeded all forecasts ahead of the U.S. tariff talks. Today, I saw those talks of President Donald Trump reducing the tariffs by about 80%, the tariffs on China. But we'll see that. But they're saying that according to what is on ground now, the exports from China did not drop.
You see, I had I was guesting on a show last week, and at some point it was a live show streamed on different platforms, and we got to this point of this tariff thing, and I said it, and I'm going to say it again: you cannot tariff your way to settle a trade imbalance. The host of the show seemed to feel that it was the right thing to do and that it will boost local production and everything. I get that part. But how instant would it be? So now you're still importing as much as you used to import from China. So is China losing anything? No. Is China paying this tariff difference? No. Who is paying the tariff difference? The people. Your people. You cannot tariff your way to a trade balance. You can't. What you do is negotiate. What you do is put down the marker. It's been done in the past. And I know the Chinese are open to discussions and everything. Now I'm looking like America, like, I think you dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, I think that
and you missed
now
the trick.
I think they're saying that they're going to be having discussions. I think this.
Were you not supposed to have these discussions first?
Yeah, should have happened before. Anyway, talking about the United States, they're set to cut $50 million in medication and medical supplies support to Zambia.
Oh, well, dear Africa, it's time to wake up, smell the coffee. It's time for you to pick yourself up by the bootstraps.
And do your own thing by
you
yourself.
You are blessed. You have materials. You have raw. Start processing them and selling them. Africa does not need aid.
Yeah. Anyway, now let's do a little bit of sports here. There are quite a number of things that we're going to talk about. First things first, we know that the under 20 AFCON is ongoing. Nigeria had I think it was a 2-2 with Kenya, the last group stage.
Very, very pathetic game. I'm sorry. I was disappointed because Kenya was the weeping baby of that team, and Nigeria had played tougher teams, won and drew one. They now played the draw with Kenya. I was really pained about it.
Unfortunately for them, they ended up second on that group, which means that they're most likely
everybody else beat Kenya.
Yeah, because they're facing
the first in the other group.
And that other person is the defending champion, Senegal.
See where the problem lies now. And the Senegalese team is very, very tough.
Oh, yeah.
But the Nigerian boys, I was impressed with their first and second game.
So we definitely will see what is going on.
There's a guy, Parobo Arieri. I'm looking out for him.
My thoughts are really with them. This is going to be a lot, maybe a little bit tough, but fingers crossed on that. And still talking about Nigeria's team. The under-17 women's football team is set to... The Flamingos are set to participate at the National Sports Festival.
Yeah, interesting news. It's not something that usually happens, but...
Yeah, the National Sports Festival seems to be getting a lot of buzz. I know it's starting in a couple of days. The governor had yesterday announced that they were changing it from just one of the venues they're using from just a stadium to a sport complex.
Yeah.
That they're turning it into world class. And
they're largely due to the fact that
if it's truly world class, first thing in my head is that maybe the Super Eagles will have somewhere else to play other than Uyo.
We'll see, which is not a bad idea. It's just down the road, largely due to the fact that the stadium used to be more about football. The other facilities were not really. You get. I know there's a 5-a-side that we've gone there for once or twice.
So they're saying that they have.
But now they put other things in place.
There. They have an Olympic-sized swimming pool. They have handball and volleyball courts, standard sizes, and all that they can use to continue to host other events going forward. So, honestly, I'm actually looking forward to. Or would I say that
the problem has never been about building or upgrading these things. The problem has always been about maintaining them and putting them to good use.
Good use, yeah.
Look at the Abia Stadium now. If the Super Eagles don't go there, what exactly happens? What exactly happens there?
I think that the only thing that's really kept it is because the Super Eagles uses it, so they don't have a choice.
So what happens when the Super Eagles don't go there?
Don't go there anymore.
What's going to happen to that facility? Yeah. Do you understand? So when you build these things, you're supposed to build them with that plan in mind.
To keep you.
That's why the guys who hosted the last World Cup said they were going to bring down some of the stadiums that they built and gift them to other countries.
Because if you're not going to use it, it doesn't make any sense. I personally is looking forward to this National Sports Festival, mainly because Ogun State has made so much noise over their sports festival. They've been going on about it. And I will be there to see if what you are doing is truly you really.
So the last time they hosted, I think it was under Benga Daniel as governor. The commissioner for sports then was Olakpade. He's now DG NSC.
Interesting.
And Ogun is also blessed with some people in sports and everything. And I think Lagos now hosted another one that was the biggest. Actually, it was massive. So the standards have been raised. Let's see if they can pull it, and that's why they had to postpone it. It was also happened last year. So they seem to be talking a good game. We'll see where that is. Anyway, the Nigeria Premier Football League, the NPFL, has now ordered that the remaining games for the season, I think there are about 2 or 3 games left, that these fixtures are now going to be kicked off at the same time. Yeah, a lot of teams are still trying to play on the continent. Some are battling relegation. So you don't want a scenario where some people already know that they are gone and they don't put their best into it. The games kick off at the same time.
Everybody, moves from that. Now, Moving on from that, Xavi Alonso, who's the coach of Bayer Leverkusen, is said that he's leaving after the end of the season.
The talk out there now is that he's actually going to Real Madrid, since Carlo Ancelotti might be leaving for Brazil. There's a lot of talks about that. People are mentioning his name as one of the potential replacements for Don Carlo.
Well, the truth is that he's done really well for Bayer Leverkusen. He's actually done really well.
Brought them up and kept them up and won the league. And he also went far in Europe. He went unbeaten for so long.
It's done really well for them. Also, Mohamed Salah has now been named the Football Writers Association Men's Player of the Season.
It's a build-up to him winning other awards.
I think that you can't doubt this one. There's no conversation around it.
There's still the BBC, there's still the other awards, and of course he's already put himself in pole position.
Yeah. And finally, before we go, apparently, you know that this issue with India and Pakistan is really, really escalating. And it's getting to the point that is now affecting even sports. So today now, it has now been announced the Indian Premier League has now been suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, these guys are really going at it.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to be looking at them and trying to bring them to a table to talk.
Also, the Cricket League has also now been suspended for a week. In Pakistan as well, the T20 League has also been suspended.
We need to bring India and Pakistan to the table. Let's talk.
You know, the funny thing for me is that nobody seems to even be bothered about what is going on with them. I don't understand.
Some scary stuff out there, man.
I still don't understand.
Me, I'm personally afraid because I know the capacity of these two countries when it comes to the military might.
Okay. Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3. Sorry, not tomorrow. Monday. At 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Boom Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.